Have you realized by now that you cannot run from your pain? Really, think about it. When you feel discomfort, what does that tell you? That tell you that you are not accepting of your current situation. And this this gets boring to talk about, I know, because oh my god, just one more person talking about non-duality, and I don't want to hear that there's no remedy for my issues. I want to hear the fix. And what I'm talking about here is not, I'm not talking about things in the sense of, you know, non-dualing stuff away and saying that there's not even a person here to feel pain to begin with, or that that my pain or your pain is not important. And it's not actually true, because we know it is. We feel it. But I feel like you can reach a certain point where you, even though you are in the midst of your pain, you realize you can witness yourself. And the characteristics of this witness is that it doesn't actually is feeling the pain, it is witnessing it. It is witnessing it, and it witnesses from a point, from a neutral standpoint, from a loving standpoint. At least that's my experience, right? Some spiritual gurus say that this witness is not actually the end goal. There is something beyond that, which, which is fine, which I recognize, but it's not what it's not on a practical level to talk about in words, right? So you reach this point where you feel your pain and your discomfort, and you ask yourself, what do I do with it? What is the thing that is going to make me not be in this discomfort anymore? And truth is, nobody knows the answer really. If you watch YouTube videos on this subject, you will only find pointings to something deeper, pointings to the idea that you are not actually running the show of your life. You're not actually in command. You cannot determine when you want to feel pain or not. In fact, I would say that it is the very process of going through pain that um, forges you into a new level of being, of self understanding and realization. And this is not something new, right? Especially in the esotericism slash mysticism. You can hear stuff about alchemy and the fact that we are basically operating a laboratory, and through the transmutation of your lower feelings, you can reach levels of consciousness and beyond, basically. What does that mean exactly? So, I don't know if you've had this experience, but I'm hoping you do. Have you realized that every time you go through a period of pain, of discomfort, the other side of this process is always a understanding of yourself? Well, I guess you could say that this only applies to someone who has been doing some sort of self-inquiry and spiritual practice, but the truth is, this can happen to anyone at any time. It is not a definitive process. It doesn't have a definite itinerary of beginning, middle, and end. This is because pain is prescribed by life to us to make us understand what we need to. And if you're in pain and you're watching this video, I know it's hard. I get that, I really do. I'm not here to tell you that you're being silly, because I know you're not. But I guess if you have already been on a process of self realization, you can recognize that there's a part of you that maybe even likes the pain that you're experiencing on a deeper level. When I say something like that, you might just, just throw me off completely. And I guess the person that would be thinking that is not even in this video anymore. And so I'm going to be talking to the one who stayed, which to you I say, focus on that feeling, or don't. Just remember that that feeling is there and that you can choose to tap into that. Have you recorded a video and then if you click on it on your phone, it basically expands so that you can search for the specific moment that you're looking for in the video? Do you see how our lives are basically like that? Think in macroscopic terms, like how much does your life really makes a difference? How important really are you to the totality of reality? Well, we can we can all walk towards two roads from this question, which is you are either not important at all or you are uniquely important. Truth is, the answer to that question doesn't matter because every time we make those questions, we are going to reach a conundrum, a duality, something that is not absolute. And the path to liberation, I feel like I feel like I'm full of myself right now, but the path of liberation is in the middle, is in finding balance to the fact that we need to accept that we are not less important or more important because of the pain we are feeling. It does not. The pain we are feeling is not personal. And since everything in life, we are going to experience those conundrums, those two roads that we can take, you can choose to take the road of taking what resonates with you, taking what means something to you and leaving the rest. I'm always with these allergies. And everyone goes through some pain, is going through. Especially if you've been on this process of self-realization. The thing is, what you are experiencing, most probably someone else is setting themselves up to experience the same thing, so to speak. But maybe they have so much unconscious layers behind them that they haven't actually have had the chance to see that there are stuff that they need to work with. And you, my friend, is on that process already. This doesn't make you good, better, worse, or bad. It just is what it is. It is your current level of awareness. So what are you gonna do with that? Because you always have a choice, as I said. You have the choice to realize that you don't have a choice. Yeah, being so paradoxical right now. And not having a choice in this scenario means realizing that you can choose to not have to choose. You can choose to allow yourself to not make any decision. And if you feel like your pain is too much to bear right now, then you go do what you need to do. You go do what you need to do in order to realize that that you will probably not cut out the root cause of your pain until the time is ripe, until you are ripe to make that decision. Because maybe in some deeper level you are not ready to let go of things that you need to in order to not feel this pain anymore. And maybe one question you can ask yourself is, what is that? Maybe you will find the answer, maybe not. It's okay if you don't. Let yourself do what you need to do as well. This is why I have some trouble defining myself into a specific category of a spiritual path, or just committing to a specific group, a spiritual group, because there are things that are said there that are taken into an absolute way. And for me, this creates friction where there is not a need to happen. Does that make sense to you? Maybe this is my own issues that I need to work with, I don't know. But to have complete autonomy of your own mind is not a process that happens willingly, and at the same time it is. Do you catch my drift here? It is in the process of working and going and having the inspiration to go after something that we realize whether it is making sense to do so or not. Life is flowing, is expanding at this very moment, is creating itself, it is recognizing itself, and it does that through experimentation. Think of it like the sea. The sea, if you start digging a hole in, in the depths of the sea, The water is just going to complete and take care of that hole. This is just what's life is like. Life is constantly basically a higher software algorithm that is constantly trying things out and seeing what how can it flow, where can it flow. It is always flowing, right? It is from that concept that you can make the connection, for example, with sexual transmutation, right? Life flows through us in a certain way. Then at some point you can make the choice to make that flow in another way, in a way that's more proponent to the development of your consciousness. And it actually makes sense because now this energy is going upwards and it goes through the chakras, and maybe it will get stuck somewhere, and that's when you will need to work at something related to that chakra. Does that make sense? Say, for example, that life is flowing through you and is going through a specific chakra, and that chakra starts to, and whatever issue or trauma has been, let's say, stuck into the level of that chakra is going to start to come up for you to deal with, because that's the only way you will liberate yourself. And when I say liberate, I don't mean salvation or, I just say like liberating yourself from your own pain. And so at some level, yes, you can choose to accelerate this process. But even the choice to accelerate this process is something that it's not actually you that's doing it, even though we might feel like it at sometimes. I hope this makes sense to you. If you want to see me talk about anything else, just put in a comment and we'll see what we see. Okay? See you later.